Welcome to Lake Skanatati and Sauntering Mike's inaugural video blog as we hike the long path. Over there on the other side of the lake there is the long path. This is the parking lot at the lake. And c'est moi. So welcome, and I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you bear with me as this is my first attempt at doing a video blog, and there's definitely going to be a learning curve, so welcome. Well, here's the trailhead. As you see, swimming's not permitted. Pets permitted on a 6-foot leash, and there's been a little bit of traffic coming the other way, which still continues. So anyway, we're going to attempt to start. Well, that was interesting. I just met the whole slew of people, some Chinese people who wanted to pose with pictures for me. So anyway, the things that happen on the long path. So anyway, we're hiking by beautiful Lake Skanatati. Hopefully the weather's clearing. And this is a continuation of the long path hike for me that I started in June at 175th Street, New York. And hopefully eventually sometime I'll end up in the Adirondacks. And hopefully I will extend that hike all the way to Lake Placid. That's my goal eventually. So I'm doing it in sections, so it may take me a few years. But I certainly enjoy doing this. Well, we're just starting to pull away from the Lake Skanatati, along the long path. Those green blazes there, or I think teal they're supposed to be, indicate the long path. And as you can see, it's very rocky. And we're in Rockland County, and you can tell why they call it Rockland County, because it's full of rocks, which when you have to heed the call of nature, can make it a very interesting trial to dig a pit. So anyway, as you can see, it's very beautiful. So we're headed today to where the long path intersects the Appalachian Trail, and then we're going to hike north on the Appalachian Trail to the Fingerboard shelter and spend the night. Then we shall hike south on the Appalachian Trail to Route 17 and stop the official part of the hike, and then go to Harriman and catch the train. Harriman's probably about 2.5 miles away from where the Appalachian Trail hits Route 17. So then we'll take the train home. So easy little outing. So I guess we're going to turn right, as indicated by the double blaze. This area of the trail's so far very well marked, and beautiful rock formations there. You can really see how the time and elements have eroded the rocks here. At one time, the mountains here were taller than the Himalayas. That was quite a few million years ago, but time and water and wind have worn them down to the nubs that they are now. Not to mention some really heavy glaciation that occurred in the last ice age, where there was a mile or 2 miles worth of ice on top of this. A lot of these rock formations, you can actually see the scoring from the gravel on the underside of the ice as it moves. It's very interesting. Well, we're just a little bit further around Lake Sconatati, but as you can see, it's very rocky here. And that's one of the things about Harriman Park, is it's very rocky. You don't get much really good trail that's without rocks. You get some, but most of it's like this. So for training purposes, it's a pretty good place to train. But you got to pay attention to where you put your feet, because it's dangerous, because there are rocks everywhere and it doesn't take much to slip, especially if it's a little wet. So there's our familiar green blaze. Teal, excuse me, it's a teal blaze. So I think we're going up this little hill here. So here we go. Our first climb for the day. Doesn't look too bad. I think we're going to top out today a little over 1,300 feet. I think we're somewhere around 900 feet at the moment. So not too bad. Where's that next blaze? That's the thing, sometimes it's a little hard to find the next green blaze. And when it's really rocky and it's hard to tell where there's a beaten path, it can get difficult to figure where you're going, especially when you can't see the next blaze. So where is it? Ah, there it is. And we're turning to the left. And notice we didn't get a double blaze indicating a turn. Isn't that nice? But hey, we figured it out. Yay. So I guess we're not climbing that whole thing. So that's one thing I've noticed about the long path so far, is there are parts of it that are just not marked very well. And they usually occur in sections where it's very rocky like this, so it's hard to tell where the path is anyway. But okay, here, but I don't know, maybe I missed the double blaze, but I don't think I saw it. Well, I didn't see it for sure. Anyway, so well, here we have a little stream that we're going to ford. So anyway, here we are at the creek again. Had to stop for a little nature break, but so anyway, we're going to cross this. You can see the blaze on the other side and continue on. So here we go. Looks like we have some nice stepping stones here. Yeah, a little bit tougher than I wanted. So I think we're going to try a little further upstream. So why take the hard road when you can take the easier path, especially when you're humping a 50-pound pack. So part of the training. And we did it. Yeah, that was just a little bit further than I wanted to step. I broke my right foot about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, in July of 2015, and had to have 3 surgeries. I had, one time I had 2 plates, one with 9 screws and 1 plate with 3 screws, and a total of 15 screws. And I had a post-operative infection in my foot after each surgery. It took me a year to get to the point where I could even put weight on my foot again. So after a year of getting strong enough to attempt hiking, I started doing the long path. The first section was from 175th Street in Manhattan across the George Washington Bridge, and then up to the New Jersey state line along the Palisades. That was a whole day hike. I think I ended at 11 o'clock at night. My son met me about, I'd say, 2/3 of the way up the trail, and we hiked the rest of the third back. And so he's hiked some of the sections with me. I appreciate his support in hiking, doing my hikes. So kudos to Warren. So anyway, leaves are starting to change, as you can see, and it's just beautiful. It's quiet. The only thing I hear is the roar of that jet, which is kind of hard to escape in this area, because there are like 4 airports, 50-mile circle within a 50-mile radius of me. So there's always air traffic. And that doesn't include the small airports, some of which are executive jet airports. But anyway, and there are sections in Harriman where you can hear the train, which goes up both sides, and the highway, which goes up one side, the interstate. But I probably don't have self-service here, and the EMF levels are much lower than they are where I live, so it's nice to get away from that, get to hear water falling from the leaves onto the trees, or from the trees onto the leaves, and birds. Anyway, onward. Well, looky here. We have a little Christmas tree. See one over there too. A few pine trees. I guess they're pines. So that's first I've seen of these. But this is Harriman State Park, home of rocks. It's amazing these trees and the plants eke out a living here, because believe me, it's a very thin veneer of dirt on top of these rocks. You can't really dig. But somehow life finds a way. And isn't that beautiful? It's warm for October 14th. It's got to be in the mid-70s. Very humid because it rained this morning. So I'm working up a little bit of a sweat. thing about hiking in a rocky area is spend a lot of time looking down. So you got to remember to look up every little while to catch the blazes if you can't tell where the path is. So it looks like we got to turn there, and we're going to be going up in that direction. So that rock right there is a glacial erratic. Dropped right there when the glaciers here melted. Caught in the ice, and as the ice melted, it just got left there. Probably from hundreds of miles away. Picked up here and moved by the river of ice that once covered this area. Help. Another airplane, this time a small private plane. Or is that a helicopter? Helicopter. Well, I hope they're not looking for me. A lot of helicopters in this area. You know, for commuting purposes. So I guess you can see why in Harriman State Park you spend a lot of time looking at the ground so you don't trip and fall. I haven't fallen in Harriman State Park, but I fell a couple of times when I was first starting to hike the long path. Fell in the Palisades a few times. Yeah, I didn't start out carrying a 50-pound pack. I started out carrying like a 20-pound lumbar pack. 7 pounds of that with 3 liters of water in a water bladder in the pack. So I got 3 liters of water in this pack, so that's 7-something pounds. But with the weather today being humid and not too hot, I probably won't consume a lot of it. So, and the only place I know I can top off my water supply is at the Fingerboard shelter a half-mile past is a lake. I've forgotten the name of the lake, but we'll show it to you when we get there, and I'll top my bladder off and fill an extra liter bottle of water. So for cooking with tonight and in the morning, and that'll probably be all I need for my weekend trip. So I doubt I'm going to consume 3 liters of water today. But in June, in July, and August, when I would go out, I would definitely consume 3 liters of water a day, easy. Well, we have just climbed up this As you can see, the long path blazes there to intersect with the Dunning Trail, which is the yellow blaze right there. And we're going to go with the Dunning Trail for a little bit on this, what looks like a fire road, which fire trucks can use to get back here in case there's a forest fire. So you can see how rocky it is. And once more, I have to tell you, you got to keep your eye on the ground and place your feet consciously, because you look up and take a step, most likely you're going to stumble. And I speak from experience. So anyway, but lots of falling leaves now, and getting some color here. Which all the falling leaves makes it kind of hard to see the rocks sometimes, as you can see. Believe me, under these leaves are lots and lots and lots of rocks. So I think we're almost to the split of the Dunning Long Path Trail, and we're going to continue on just the long path, which is the teal blazes. So here we go. This is the split Dunning long path, and we're going on the long path. Well, we are coming up to what's pointed out on the map as Cape Horn. So I find myself transported to the southern hemisphere, rounding the Cape Horn. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? But yes, nice little mountain here. We're just going to go around the outside of it. We're headed to an intersection of trails called Times Square. Lots of roots. Less stone, lots of roots. But that's beautiful, isn't it? Yep, Harriman State Park. Land of the rocks. There are lots of old mines in this park, dating from the Revolutionary War period and before, even a little after. Hi, how are you? Where they mined iron. Yep, this is Cape Horn. Well, we're coming to it. very fragrant here in a very nice way. Beautiful. Well, there is one pecked tree. As you can see, the woodpeckers have made some good work of that. I guess since it's a dead tree, it probably had a lot of termites in it. So maybe it was a bountiful harvest for woodpeckers. Maybe even a nest or two. But, yeah. Love these rocks. We're on the other side of Cape Horn. And still headed up to Times Square. So, on we go. So here we are a little further up the trail. As you can see, we're going to scramble up some more rocks, and the trail heads up that way. And I think once we get to the top of this little stretch, we will have reached, I don't know how many feet, but at least the highest part for a little while. But we've come up quite a way so far. Let me see exactly what our elevation is at the moment. Well, I don't have our elevation information, but, oh, okay, here we go. We are at 1,153 feet. So we started out at 900, so we've gone 250 feet high. So, anyway. I have two apps. I have my app for my Garmin InReach Explorer, and I have my Avenza Maps app, which gives me a map of the trails in Harriman State Park. That blue dot is where I am right now, and we're going to where that F is, which is Times Square, and we're gonna continue on the long path. So anyway, that's how I figure out where I am. I do have paper maps and a compass in case this doesn't work, and I know how to use them. So anyway, I just got a message over my okay, my InReach Explorer from my son So he says, have fun and stay safe. So I say, I will. Okay. This is one of the nice things about my InReach Explorer is I can text and communicate with my family even though I don't have cell service, because this is a satellite app, a satellite GPS communicator tracker, GPS tracker. So anyway, we're going to continue on. Well, that was a nice little climb. We are now at 1,214 feet. And on we go. Familiar green blaze, teal. Sometimes they're very hard to read. They faded out quite a bit. They're hard to see. That's a decent looking one. Well, a little further down the trail. So anyway, I think I was mentioning before that the trails in Harriman are just excellent training for long distance hikes, because they're not easy trails. You get lots of climbs and downs, so it's a good workout. And one of my long-term goals is to section hike the AT, the Appalachian Trail, but I don't think I'll start that until I finish the long path, which may take me a couple of years. But I will get one section of the AT out of the way in the spring when I hike from the end of this backpacking trip tomorrow from Route 17 and the Appalachian Trail to High Point, New Jersey. So that'll be a 4-day trip in the spring, and then I will from there go north on the Shawangunk Ridge Trail to Woodsboro, New York for another 2.5 days, because the long path meets up with the Shawangunk Ridge Trail just north of Port Jervis, New York, and the route on the AT, which I will prep tomorrow, is the southern alternate route, because it provides camping the length of the trail, whereas you go the original long path route north from where it intersects with the AT through Orange County. You can't camp, and you have to stay in a hotel each night. And I was going to try doing that, but I priced it out, and it was pretty expensive, because the hotels are very expensive, even off season. So I may do that eventually one day, just for giggles. And but right now I'm more interested in perfecting my backpack trip techniques, getting to know my gear well, and getting strong. So, which is, I have to say, doing these hikes have really helped me recover from my broken foot. So maybe I'll maybe I will edit into this video a x-ray of my foot with all the metal hardware. So anyway, I will say my right foot is deformed now, and I have to wear orthotics to pad it, because if I don't, it's like walking on a tennis ball on my right foot. But the orthotics allow me to walk without you know, disturbing my gait, and they, you know, make it comfortable. So give me some extra padding. Look at all these leaves. Beautiful. Yeah, I like being here. It's nice. Well, a little further along the trail, and we've reached the land of yellow ferns. Guess it's drying out here. Even the ferns are starting to turn. So, anyway, some fallen trees. I'd like to give a shout out to a guy who thru hiked the Appalachian Trail this year by the name of Red Mage, who I've been watching his video blog of hiking the Appalachian Trail. I think I left off at day 77, and I have to say that he's been an inspiration to me. I'm watching his video blog of hiking the AT, and he's inspired me to create my own video blog. I was going to call it Mike's Hikes originally, but somebody had taken that, so I decided on Sauntering Mike, and so it's got a little bit of a ring to it. I like that a lot better anyway. But anyway, just want to give a shout out to Red Mage. And thank you for all you've done to inspire me, and I can't wait to get to the part where I see you summit Mount Katahdin. And anyway, just really, you've been a real big inspiration to me, and I have to admit, you know, even for me, doing these hikes this year, besides helping me strengthen my right foot and make that recovery, it's helped me lose weight, get in much better shape. So when I do start my AT hikes, I'll be in good shape for that. I do have to admit, though, I certainly think Bear Mountain and the Harriman State Park are excellent training grounds for any person who wants to do through hikes or just section hikes. So anyway, this looks interesting. I found on really rocky trails like this that if I get a mile an hour of pace, it's doing pretty good. I can get up to 5 miles an hour on a good trail, but those are far and few between in this area. And when you got some serious climbing, you can get down to like half a mile an hour. Of course, I'm probably still hiking a mile an hour or more, but in a linear distance, I'm not really covering that much because I'm climbing. Yeah, and I think one of the reasons for slow pace is you really have to look at the ground in front of you and place your feet, because if you look up and not looking where you're putting your feet, you invariably will trip. You might not fall, but you'll definitely stumble. Not much of a view, but my last trip in Harriman, I hiked from just before the end of the Palisades up to a big hill shelter and then to where I started the hike today. And I have to tell you, the view from Big Hill Shelter is definitely worth seeing, especially at night, because you see Manhattan and New York City in the distance, and it's all lit up at night. It's very beautiful. So I think in 2 weeks I'm going to do another hike, and I think I'll end up there at Big Hill Shelter again, and record it with the GoPro and do a video blog of that. So anyway, I see some more people coming. So anyway, where was I? A little traffic there. Yes. I think in 2 weekends time I'm going to do another little trip, and I'm going to camp out at Big Hill Shelter, and I'll give you a view of Manhattan at night and during the day from that spot. And let me tell you, it is nice, especially at night. Very much worth the recording or the trip. Definitely worth the trip. My last trip there was very windy, but anyway, well, I think we have made it to what's known as Times Square. So, yes, that red triangle, downward facing triangle on the white blaze is the A-SB trail, whatever that is. And we are going to parallel that for a while, or hike on it for a while as part of the long path, till we get to just before the lemon squeezer. We're going to turn north and be back on just the long path. So, as you can see, we've made it to Times Square, and doesn't look like the Times Square I know. A lot of dead wood here. But we're going to follow that long path blaze and continue on. Yep, that is the logo for the long path. LP. Well, here we are back on the long path trail, and I think our next part is up this. I don't see a blaze up there, and judging from the blaze on the other side of the tree there, that is definitely what we're doing. We're going up that, so it looks like it's worn. So all right, we'll carry on. I think we just had an acorn drop. Well, that was fun with the 50-pound pack, but I made it. And I won't tell you the secret of how I did it. But let's say I didn't take my pack off. But anyway, oh, excuse me. That was definitely fun. I'm glad to be over that one. Hopefully that's the only challenge for the day, because that was a good one. But I made it. So anyway, now that we've had that fun, we'll continue on. A hike I took a few hikes back. I hiked from Tuxedo to the Dutch doctor shelter on a Friday after work, and in the summers I get off of work early on Fridays at 3 o'clock, so I figured by the time I got to Tuxedo, got on the trail that'd be about like 5:30, and I only had, I don't remember, 3 or 4 miles to hike. Figured I had plenty of time, but anyway, when I got to Tuxedo, it was raining, so I took the time to put my rain gear on and my pack cover, get going. So that put me behind. Needless to say, it was raining pretty good, and the first part of the trail was an overlook to Tuxedo, and it was like, I think, a 400-foot climb, and the rain took me a while. And let me tell you, I hiked I think it was midnight by the time I got to my campsite, and I hiked in the dark in the rain. And there were times it was so foggy I had to stop and wait for the clouds to pass so I could continue on, because I couldn't see, more than 10 feet in front of me. But I made it. And I was soaked that night. Thank God my hammock was dry, and even though it stopped raining by the time I made my camp, it was still all the water falling off the leaves onto the ground, so it might as well have been raining. So I went to bed wet in my hammock, and I was so warm from all the heat I had built up hiking that I figured I'd just dry off in my hammock. So I didn't get out my top quilt or my underquilt, and I woke up at like 4 in the morning needing a nature break. By that time I was dry, but I was cold. So when I got back in my hammock, I got out my top quilt, warmed up, slept till about like 6. And anyway, I will, when I make camp tonight, I will show you my setup. It's a War Bonnet Blackbird XLC, and I've been using straps and buckles for hanging it, but I got whoopee slings now, and this will be my first time sleeping in my hammock with my whoopee sling, so I will be sure to document all that. I have to say that I love my hammock, and unless I absolutely have to, I will never sleep on the ground again. The only way I could see that happening is if I was hiking above the tree line for several days and I had no other choice but to sleep in a tent for cover. And then I'd probably do something like a bivvy. So anyway, you can look forward to seeing that soon. Oh, I didn't realize I knocked my camera around, so I hope that's usable film. Well, we'll see when I edit. So here we are again, and I'm gonna continue telling you a tale, or telling you about my hikes. Anyway, part of the idea of the hike this weekend is to get me set up to hike on the AT from Route 17, New York, to High Point, New Jersey, and that'll probably be in March. And that's the southern alternate of the route of the long path. And from High Point, New Jersey, I will take the Shawangunk Ridge Trail to Woodsboro, which north of Point Jervis, the long path rejoins that and goes up through the Shawangunk Mountains, and then separates off into the Catskills. So I'm working on doing that. So hopefully maybe next year I'll get through the Catskills. That would be nice. That's going to take some long trips. You know, we're talking about like a week at a time. So vacation. I know what I'll be doing then. Or maybe I'll take, 4-day trips or some long weekends. But I was going to do the part from Route 17, New York to High Point, New Jersey. I was going to do that in November and hike all the way to Woodsboro, because that's close to where some people I do sweat lodges with. We were going to have a sweat lodge in November, the weekend before Thanksgiving, and I was going to hike that and get a hotel room on Friday, and then do the sweat lodge on Saturday, and then come back with my son from the sweat lodge. But I realized when around the end of September, when my New York, New Jersey Trail Conference sent an email out reminding people about hunting season, that what I was going to do originally on my last trip was to end up at Route 17, what I'm finishing up this trip, and hike up the Angry Grind, which is the first part of that section of the AT after, Route 17. And then I was going to hike to Harriman on this Sapphire Trail once I climbed that. And I figured that when I actually in November was going to do that AT section hike, I would start from Harriman and just hike that Sapphire Trail and just avoid doing the Angry Grind at the beginning of the hike, because I have to take the train to get there. It would mean I'd take a late start. So, but anyway, I realized that it's hunting season now, And that section from the Appalachian Trail, after you reach the top of the Angry Grind, or Agony Grind, excuse me. It's called Agony Grind. That I would have to hike almost 2.5 miles to Harriman through an area where they allow hunting for small game with firearms. And I thought, it's probably not a good idea. I don't care how much orange I wear. There might be lead coming my way. So, or arrows. Because, who would mistake me for small game? Somebody would probably, but not that it would happen, but I just don't want to take the chances. And on the AT corridor, there's no hunting allowed, but that's a small corridor, and God knows there could be bullets whizzing by. So I decided that I would do that hike in the spring when it's not hunting season. So plus the end of that hike all the way to Woodsboro would be hiking on DEC lands, which hunting is allowed. So I just thought, probably not a good idea. So I nixed it, and I'll just do more hikes in Harriman State Park between now and next spring. Keep getting myself in shape, get my gear down, and trying new things, and get some winter camping in, and maybe some camping and hiking with my son, who I enjoy being with, hiking and camping. Those are the plans for the winter and the fall. So after this trip today and tomorrow, I will not do any more long path trails this year, but hey, I've gotten a good chunk out of the way, and gotten back into pretty good shape. Not that I can't get into better shape yet, but I've definitely lost some weight. I had to get a new belt for my backpack. I went from the large to the medium, and I had to do that because the large no longer would get tight enough to hold my pack in the small of my back, which is where it needs to rest to support the weight. And so that's good news. So I have a feeling that probably in the spring I'll have to be ordering more clothes, because I will have lost some good, more weight. I'm really not losing a lot of weight now as I'm losing body fat. I'm adding muscle mass and losing body fat, so my weight's staying fairly even, but my lean mass is going up and my body fat's going down, which is a good thing. So anyway, I have a Gafaru backpack I like very, very much. It's the Australian Mountain Ruck, or the AMC. It's a rather large pack. It's 128 liters, but it's got 3 compression straps on the sides, each side, and compression strap on the bottom, compression straps on the top, and it'll cinch down pretty tight. But some of my gear is just bulky. Not that it weighs that much, but it's just bulky. Like my underquilt and top quilt for my hammock. Takes up room. Even though they're compressed down. So I hear people coming. Well, we have an interesting little portal there. Just one of the many pleasures of the long path. I guess I might as well document going through this. Here we go. Hopefully it's not so low that I bump my... I'm definitely going to have to duck. And my pack is a little higher than I am, or taller than I am. Pack's higher than my head. So, yep. And I have bit the dust. Yes, that was fun. Well, I may have tripped over that root as I ducked under that. Nothing hurt but my pride. Well, that's the first time I've fallen on the trail in quite a while. Oh, excuse me. Well, that must be the Dismal Swamp. I always see, I don't know, are those cattails down there? Can't really tell. I'm not really that well versed in the botanical delights of this park. But that's probably something I should rectify. So, anyway, nothing hurt by my pride in that little tumble. Definitely got a little soreness in my left upper thigh on the side, but I'll probably get a bruise there. So, but otherwise I'm okay. Just my pride. Well, I just was past going the opposite direction. Two guys and a group of young men. Maybe they were Boy Scouts, I couldn't tell, but the guy in the lead said it's a little hard to follow up there, and he wasn't kidding. Look at that. You could miss that very easily. And there's the next blaze down there. So, you know, one would think you would just keep going down there. And that's more of the Dismal Swamp there, I see. But, yeah, I could see how it would get hard to follow here. And more negotiation with my backpack, which is tall. Too tall for this tree. So, I'm going to have to really try to go around here. Here we go. All right. We did it. Okay. And Dismal Swamp water. We have made it to the Appalachian Trail. Woohoo! Yeah. Those white blazes are now the Appalachian Trail. So we got about 1.5 miles to go to the Fingerboard shelter, and then another half a mile after that for water. Well, yes, we are at the Appalachian Trail now. So if I went to the left, I would be continue on to the New York Long Path, and that I'm going to do. But I'm going to take the Long Path AT southern option to High Point and then Shawangunk, as it says there, Ridge Trail North. And when I do that, from this point it would be 82.5 miles. So that I'm going to cover in like 7 days in the spring. But from here today, I'm going to go to the Fingerboard shelter, which is 1.5 miles left to go. And then I'm going to go another half mile past that to the Lake Tiarati, and fill up for water, and then make camp. So anyway, I'm Gonna do my first little bit of hike on the AT today. So here we go. So we're on the AT now, and we haven't gone very far since the junction of the long path, but we got our first big climb on the AT. I don't think it's that high, but it's pretty straightforward. But this is Surebridge Mountain, and it's just a mile and a half away from the Fingerboard shelter where I'll be staying tonight. And let's get this done. So, onward. Well, look at that. We have steps. So we're coming into the home stretch to Fingerboard shelter. So I think we're going to climb this hill here. And so I think Fingerboard's at 1,300 feet. And we are at this moment at 1,100 feet. So we got a 200-foot climb. We got a little climb up to 1,200 feet here, then some level area, and a climb up to 1,300 feet. And a little past that, looks like 1,360 feet. We leveled out, and we'll be close to Fingerboard shelter. And then we'll go a little bit downhill to back down to 1,300 feet. So it looks like we hike up to 1,360 and then hike down to the Fingerboard, back down to 1,300. So I'm eager to get that done with and take this pack off. And we got to get water. Up, onward. As you can see, it's getting late in the afternoon. It is 4:22. Well, that wasn't too bad. Switchback helped, but beautiful, isn't it? Hard to get used to those green blazes. I mean, yellow. It's hard to get used to the white blazes because I'm used to following the green ones. Excuse me, teal. Well, I'm going to hike up that in a second, but I just hiked up that, and that was fun. So anyway, on we go. So I think when I make it to the top of that, we are done for climbing today. So I think we'll be at 1,300 feet at the top of that. And or 1,360. And we'll just have a little bit to go downhill to get to the Fingerboard shelter. So onward. Well, there we are, the familiar white AT blaze. And well, I thought we'd be up at the maximum height, but you see we got a little bit more to go. But we have surmounted that. And that was a climb. Wasn't easy, had to pick my way through. But we made it. It's pretty. So quiet right here right now. couple more weeks, this will really be beautiful with the leaves turning. But it'll be more hard to find the trail. Well, I think we have just about summited Sure Bridge Mountain. I think that's what the name is. Let me check real quick. Well, I guess maybe technically we are on Fingerboard Mountain now. So I think we probably summited this part of it, and that should be about 1360 feet. So my GPS says we're at 1332. So we're probably close. And we are almost to the Fingerboard shelter. But we've really been climbing. So I'm glad that's over with. Whoa. And anyway, so I'm looking forward to dropping the pack, sitting for a spell, going and getting some water, setting up my hammock, fixing a little dinner, and relaxing. And tomorrow will be probably not quite as long a hike as today, but I'm looking forward to getting that done too. Tomorrow we have the lemon squeezer to look forward to, so I can't wait to show that to you, because that'll be fun. Anyway, off we are, almost to Fingerboard shelter. Well, I see the roof of the Fingerboard shelter, so that's where we're headed. We'll make camp there, and I'm not worried about staying in the shelter because we're just going to find 2 trees and hang a hammock. Oh, I just see a chipmunk over there. I don't know if you can see him, but he's on that rock, and I don't know what he's doing, but hello, chipmunk. There he goes. There he goes. I don't know if you can see him. Hello, chipmunk. Well, onward. Well, this is the Fingerboard shelter. This is if you were camping in a sleeping bag and a pad, you would be staying in. But since I'm hammock camping, I'm not going to stay in this. But a lot of people who hike the Appalachian Trail, through hike it or section hike it, this is where they stay. And people leave what's known as trail magic places. So they've left chairs, some fire starters, some rope. There's a fireplace on both sides, an empty bottle of Jack, and there's some people setting up their tent, and we have another hammock camper down there somewhere I saw, but I don't see him now. So anyway, I'm going to pick my spot for camping, and then I'm going to go get water, and I better do it before daylight runs out. Well, anyway. Beautiful spot.